and suddenly I saw there one book with a little tin whistle with a green top, with a cassette with the
Oh,
songs
yeah.
I could listen to, and a little book with notes and the songs, but not only notes, but also the fingerings, right?
Yeah.
Empty and full little things, so you know how to play the instrument. So I learned by ear. I played. My father played a guitar a little bit. So, and this is the way I played from 7 till 13, actually.
Hello, Veronika.
Hello.
So lovely to talk to you. I remember photographing you up there in your balcony or up there on the roof during the lockdown days. And yeah, and since then you've been so busy and you've done these amazing videos that I always see on Facebook and Instagram with all the flutes, all the different flutes. I mean, my gosh, where do you find these?
Actually, during the lockdown, I found it on Willhaben. So that's
Hmm.
so that's the online platform where people around in Vienna and Austria, and they have something at home and they don't really need it anymore. They put it on the internet. Please
Yeah.
pick it up for 10, 15, 20 euro.
Yeah.
And I found some instruments there and some from very good makers, and depends of course which one. But I'm also still I have notification when there's a new flute on Willhaben.
Yeah.
Then I get notification. Yeah, in this district there's a new instrument. Maybe you want to check that out. And
Really?
yeah. So sometimes they're really treasures.
But what did it start in lockdown that you got this idea of getting all the flutes?
No. I didn't start with the normal Western flute, which I studied. I started with Irish whistles.
Oh, I see.
So I started to play Irish music when I was 7.
Yeah.
And first, and of course, then I switched to the normal flute, and I did my degree and stuff. And also I played some other instruments, but not really seriously. It was always like, it's for fun. It's a different kind of flute. And during the lockdown, I had plenty of time suddenly. And finally, I could really spend some days, weeks with some instruments. Okay. And I did that, and it turned out very well. And this Instagram that started that time too, that I started to post what I practice without thinking about something extra. And suddenly there's a network from composers and orchestrators and other musicians which play the similar instruments, and it's very nice.
So you say initially you played is it an Irish flute? Was that your instrument?
And not flute, the Irish whistle. So that's a small little tube. And you don't play it like this, you play it like this.
Yeah. And this was what you studied?
Yeah.
That is so interesting. And what was the fascination about that, about the whistle?
I mean, it happened like this. I was not thinking so much. My parents went with me to the music school, so I started a normal recorder, right? Like every kid on this planet. It's cheap, it's easy, and at some point you change to clarinet or whatever. Yeah. And I went there, and we went a little bit later, so I didn't get to the teacher I actually wanted. I got to a teacher which was very strict with me, and she was, after 2 bars of playing long notes, she was, stop, wrong, again. She never let me finish the phrase. And I was 6 or 7. I was really frustrated. I was crying after the lesson. So my parents said, okay, so maybe this is not the way. I mean, she should love the music. She shouldn't cry after the lessons, right? So we stopped that. And a few days later, we went to a music shop on the main street in Bratislava. And there was a big music shop, and there were books and instruments. And suddenly I saw there one book with a little tin whistle with a green top, with a cassette with the songs I could listen to, and a little book with notes and the songs, but not only notes, but also the fingerings, right?
Yeah.
Empty and full little things, so you know how to play the instrument. So I learned by ear. I played. My father played a guitar a little bit. So, and this is the way I played from 7 till 13, actually. And then I started to think about the normal, like, what should I continue studying? You know, everyone was going to gymnasium. So then maybe I can learn the normal flute. I can try again to go to the music school, but now again to the teacher I actually wanted from the beginning.
Oh, okay.
I got to him and I learned in 2 years everything I needed to enter the conservatory. What is like a gymnasium from 15 till 20, where you learn everything about music and theory and history. And you have the instrument, of course, and orchestra and stuff.
And then what instrument did you play then?
The normal Western flute,
Oh,
the one which is in orchestra.
Yeah. So is it difficult to go from one flute to the other? Because you've got all these various flutes that you play at the moment. So how easy is it to adapt?
It's a practicing thing. Of course, when you never do that and then you always play one instrument and then you have to switch, then it's really complicated. But I was a lot of time also playing the whistle also during my normal studies. So, and that was the instrument I was brought up with. And to be totally clear, this Irish whistle has only 6 holes. So you play 3 here and 3 here. And that's actually very, very similar to many other ethnic instruments, right, from all over the world, like the Slovak ethnic flute, the Indian bansuri. Of course, you hold it like this. It's a different embouchure. So this is actually the problem. The finger is only about getting used to it. Sometimes it's small, sometimes it's big. Sometimes there's a different technique of making some articulation and ornamentation. But the biggest thing is here. And thankfully to the classical studies I got in Vienna, I am really good in control of my muscles over here. So,
I see.
So I can really fast adapt to the new instrument, find which position is the right one, because we have plenty of muscles around here. I had great teachers for flute, so they learned me the right way. So I don't play pressed. I'm really not relaxed, but I'm active and I know what I'm doing. So I can adapt that to many other instruments. Of course, sometimes it's, for example, shakuhachi, that's the Japanese one, that's really difficult, very different. And I have to find new muscles. But the system is always the same. Just don't press. You have to hold it, but not too much. You have to find which muscles can cooperate, where should you relax your jaw and stuff. You know, like when you know this and that, then the third one is easier.
Oh, I see. Yeah. So when the basis is there, but I didn't even know that that it's about that you have to study that. You would assume flute, it has to do with the breathing, and the air. But I didn't realize about the lips. Yeah.
That's the one of the. It's always the air.
Yeah.
We're working with. It's like the air management. I have to have, and have to know how to play the phrases. So that's like the bow with the string instruments, right? The air, and then everything here is to produce the sound I really want. How much air I let in, how fast, and which angle, and which position. And then there are fingers. So, but that's really important. Like if you don't have this or the air, you can move with your fingers as much as you want, but no sounds come.
So what is your preferred flute now, if you play? What is the one that...
I like of course, the Western flute, the normal flute I studied.
Yeah.
Because I spent the most time with it, really, hours and hours, years. And I still play it on a daily basis. And the most gigs are, of course, with this instrument as well. In the Corona, I fell in love with duduk. That's an Armenian instrument, but that's not flute anymore. I mean, it belongs to the group of ethnic woodwind instruments. It's actually something like a clarinet, oboe clarinet mixture. So that's very challenging for the embouchure. I don't know the English word. Embouchure, that's French. And because that's a very different kind of playing and pressing and holding the muscles. So that's really challenging, but beautiful. So that's an instrument I really fell in love with. It's not flute anymore.
And is it because of the sound that you like it?
Yeah, and also to every instrument from these different countries, there's always a history behind it, right? And how the people live in that country, and how's the politics, and what the generation had, and why do they have such a sad songs, which are so sad and touching your heart directly. going into your heart. This duduk is this kind of instrument. You play two notes, and it gets you to the different dimension of suffering and hope, like a mixture of
Really?
yeah, it's something. It's crying. The instrument is crying. So, and then when you read about Armenia and what everything happened in that country, and then you connect that all, and it makes sense. So the story behind the instruments are great, but they're only producing and saying what is in that country, actually.
That's amazing. I didn't think, or didn't realize that. And so you also then, when you find the instrument, you find the original music that's been played on that instrument.
I mean, the style, right?
The style.
I listen, I get a new instrument, and then I listen hours and hours on Spotify during I go for a jog or a walk. I listen to the music from the great masters of that instrument playing their folk music or own compositions, and or singers, because the way the flute is playing is mostly similar to the articulation and ornamentation the singers have in that language. It's connected to the language, so it's just a language. So if you play Indian music, you have to see how they speak, and the Indian rhythms. That's also very on huge. It's everything is melted together, and then there are instruments where people think, oh, it's only from our country, and then I post it, and then one day later some people write, no, we have it. You thought it's from Slovakia. We have very similar instrument here in Hungary. We have similar instrument in Scandinavia. So people were traveling, and flute was really easy to carry, and they brought it to a different area, and then the people started to play on it and make copies, but a little bit different, because that was different wood was in that region. For example, there are this kind of flute which goes like this and has 6 holes. That's on the whole planet, actually. But in India, you have a different kind of bamboo than you have in China. So the flutes are similar. Actually, it's the same. So the finger is easy, but there's a different style because the people speak different languages, have different other instruments which fit to it. They have sitar, and the other one has some kind of Chinese string instruments and sing differently. And the wood is a little bit different, so that everything affects a lot the music.
Amazing. Yeah, that's so amazing. We have the penny flute in South Africa, but I think you had one on one of the pictures that I can remember, but it's the same as the Irish one, you said. It's the same.
It's a. Here I don't know exactly the history, but it's very similar. It's almost the same. Maybe it's made from some different materials.
Yeah, but that's also a very traditional flute in South Africa.
But someone brought it from up, right?
Possibly. Yeah.
I think.
So and now and you just keep these flutes? Is that now just like a something it's just a hobby of yours that you do that, or do you intend to play these music more often of these different instruments?
So some instruments are really good quality, and they're like professional instruments I can play concerts with, and some are maybe only to try them out, and where I feel comfortable and have time, I buy the good the handmade instrument. I have over 50 instruments now, but which are really professional are maybe 20 of them, right?
Okay.
More 30. Because for example, the whistles, they come in every tonality. So you need at least nine of them to play in each scale. So and I'm playing them. I'm recording a lot for movies. So sometimes they need a whistle, sometimes they need a shakuhachi, and I'm building this kind of up. And now 2-3 days ago, I played a concert in Germany with Igo Desmond and Joe. It was very fun, and I played 8 of my instruments there. So
amazing!
And I would love to, and I would love to do some kind of project of mine where there would be a singer, actor, and some instrument, maybe guitar or accordion, and to make kind of a story, maybe for children or also for adults, a story of someone who walks through the world and with the sound of the instruments. So he goes through India. I just need to find people and money.
This is amazing. Anything to do with children, I'm so passionate about really doing projects for children with music because I think that would be so interesting.
Yeah.
And it's so important that we teach children, and your story, it's always so lovely to hear these stories. Where did the musicians start? How did they start? What was the inspiration? And if you say it was in a shop where you just saw this little book with a flute.
It was nice green cover, so it was shining there. Yeah, and I was 7.
Amazing. But so tell me, and so also you said something that when you jog, you listen to music, and I saw also that you ran the marathon.
No, I ran only a half marathon.
Half marathon. But
still, but I want to try in spring. I would love to try the full one.
Yeah, the 42 kilometers.
Yeah, that's a lot.
It's a lot, yeah. But and do you find this because now this is might be a very silly question, but with running and breathing and playing the flute, is there a connection that you feel the running is good for you, good exercise?
I think any kind of sport is perfect for a body in general. It doesn't matter if I sit in front of computer or I'm a musician, but of course I'm breathing, and I'm breathing well when I run because I'm breathing. I know what I'm doing with my body, right? Yeah. So I'm not only breathing in the upper part. So when I see some running videos, how should I breathe? I was like, I do that all my life. I play flute, right? So, but of course the condition, and especially I don't know if my lungs get bigger or the capacity somehow. I don't really know that, but it gives me endurance is the word. Yeah. I feel stronger, of course, and that's good for the instrument because then you can relax more and you trust your body. Yeah. So I think it's connected, but that's a coincidence. Before I was swimming a lot. Now I see. Oh yeah. Now I run more.
Okay. Well, I should get those breathing exercises because when I run, my daughter once said to me, if people hear me, they will come and resuscitate me because I breathe. I think I breathe like from my shoulders, and it should be deeper breathing.
And also one of the problems is that when you breathe in, and you breathe, and you didn't breathe out everything yet. You breathe again in, like you can try it, like breathe again and again, and then you actually have too much air. Then you have to breathe out everything you have, and then get the fresh air in. So that are the small things which happen when I, for example, play a phrase, and I think I have to breathe, and on the end I'm full of air, but it's old air. It doesn't really help goes anywhere. So, and it's very similar with running. You also cannot always take and don't breathe out. In and out.
Yeah, that is so interesting. But listen, this was now so interesting to talk to you. But before I go, I want to ask you, do you have some rituals before you do a concert? Do you, on the day of the concert, do you have some rituals that you do before you play?
To have a run in the morning is always a good thing. It gets me down. Then I cannot drink a coffee because I'm always already hyper. And if I drink a coffee, it's too much. What was now the last few concerts where I played all the kind of instruments, the logistic is very important. So I have to check that the Chinese flute has the bamboo paper on the position it has to be, that they are put in the right. So there's lots of logistic before I grab the instrument, right? I have to tune each of them. So there are lots of little things which otherwise I would maybe get nervous, but now I'm like, oh no, I have to do this is over there. This goes after this. So lots of logistics, but rituals, I mean, to relax, I think, or if I don't know it and I have to practice it, then practice maybe in slow tempo, but maybe it's too late.
But otherwise, you seem like a very chilled person. You don't seem like things really get to you too much.
They get. I think I have high blood pressure. I find out, and I was always like doing everything, saying every time yes, and yeah, let's do that. And now I'm probably that's the thing. I'm getting a little bit older, and in this corona, it was like, okay, I can be at home and do my stuff, and I can say no. So now I'm trying to, but maybe lots of people came with that idea that maybe I don't have to do every time everything and be everywhere, but do less, better quality. So
I think many people realize that, you know, and also I think this kind of rush, like some people would say to me, it's always this thing, you have to be here and then there, and then, you know, it's almost that there was no time to sit and think. And so many found this time in lockdown really like a time to just, you know, breathe and then just think about what they are doing. So I think it had its advantages as well for you, you know, for artists that's always so busy and concerts and things like that.
for me, definitely, because I found a totally new way with these new instruments. And I'm a freelance flutist. There are lots of freelance flutists. There are amazing freelance flutists. There are amazing flutists which have stable jobs. So to be only, I mean, I don't mean only, but to be a flutist, it's tough because there are so many good, right? And now during these 2 years, I really got deeper into some things. And now I'm not only a flutist, I play more instruments. So I get gigs which are only meant for me.
Yeah.
Because in the last year, can you play tomorrow? No, I cannot. Okay, then someone else plays. But now it's like, now it's not every time, but sometimes, can you play in 1 week? Oh, no, I have something else. Oh, okay. But when do you have time? Let's arrange it that you can do it, right? So, you know, so it's a little bit more, I'm now like, I have more ways. So I played with people which I wouldn't play before, thanks to the ethnic winds, which I do. And the next thing, there are not so many people doing that. I mean, there are some amazing people in America, in Australia, in Germany. But if I count all of them together, it's maybe 10 on the whole world, which are really professional and can do all the stuff. So, wow. And how many flutists are there? Thousands and thousands.
Yeah. No, that's true. And that you could find it and have time to develop that. That's really amazing. Yeah. But I would like to really know when you have some interesting project with one of your flutes. That would be so lovely to talk about that if you want in the future. So always let me know if there's something interesting, or if you get a new interesting flute that you discover. It's very interesting to hear about the Armenian flute. I'm going to try.
That's not a flute. It's not a flute.
Oh, sorry. What is? Just say again.
It's called duduk, and
Duduk.
it's mixture between oboe and clarinet.
Oh, okay. So it's not a flute.
Okay. No.
But I'm going to have to. I'm going to try and find music to listen to hear what if you're saying that it's so soul touching.
Yeah, you start to. I get like goosebumps just listening to it. But maybe I'm too emotional. That's also an option.
I'm very emotional too, so maybe I'll feel it as well. Yeah. But thank you so much for your time, and we'll speak soon.
Sure.
Okay.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, my pleasure. Okay, bye. Bye, Veronika.
Bye.